Hey YouTube, what's up? It's Suit and Tie Guy. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this cover that I'm working on as a part of testing the Archangel sequencer. Decided to work up Love on a Real Train, the Tangerine Dream track, kind of explore the sequences and harmonies of that piece of music and apply it in more of a house or Italo sort of sensibility. And, I could write a blog entry about this, but whatever. It's we're now living 20 minutes in the future, and video is the way we disseminate information often. So, anyway, the primary sequence I'm using the Archangel for. It's 9 stages long. And the rhythm for this is coming off the Trigger Mini Store, the leftmost Trigger Mini Store. Now, something that I do with my sequencing is that I use a trigger sequencer to advance a voltage sequencer, which is then controlling the pitches of the oscillator, and then the trigger sequencer will control the envelope generators, as well as the pitch sequence. The reason I do this is because it allows you to get a lot more variety out of a short 8-stage sequencer than you would normally be able to do so if you just let the sequencer run in an even rhythm and then grab notes out of it with a trigger sequencer. So if you're even doing that, so the notes in the sequence are F, E flat, F, C, F, F, E flat, B flat, C, like this, like that. Okay. So I programmed that in to the Archangel, and so I'm going to hit the start button here. Okay. If you see, you can see that the sequence is moving with the rhythm of the, and so the trigger sequencer is going into the advance input of the Archangel to shift the stages, and then we're also using the stage 1 output of the sequencer to make sure that it always goes back to stage 1 at the beginning of every bar. I'm also using the Archangel as my MIDI sync to DIN sync converter because my master clock is this. Pardon me, I got a new camera. It's got manual focus. Woo! Okay, so I'm using the Corgi SX as a master clock. So it's sending MIDI into the Archangel, and also my rack. I'm using my delays are MIDI synced. Okay, so that's kind of neat sounding, right? For the sound, I'm using my 901 oscillator prototypes and this filter here, which is the Moog filter, the MOTM 490 Moog filter clone, and my envelope generators. Anyway, so there's another voice too that comes in the bass. It's and so like what I'm doing for that is so that middle trigger sequencer there is moving kind of slow. It's moving in quarter notes. So There it is, right there. That's the notes. Okay, so now the Archangel, I'm using the quantizer and the Archangel for the pitches on the main sequence, but I am using the synthesizers.com quantizer bank for the other two voices that I'm going to play for you. For this sequence, I am using the Voltage Mini Store, this one right here. I'm using this trigger sequencer. This is moving in quarter notes, and it's advancing this. See, you gotta, like, on the downbeat on bar 1, downbeat on bar 2, downbeat on bar 3, and then I also bring this in right here sometimes. So yeah, that's that. Now there's another part that comes in, and I don't know whether this was sequenced or if it was played. And by the way, I'm gonna link in the description of this video. I'm gonna link to where you can download a numerology file with all of these node patterns in it. And if you don't have numerology, well then tough luck. You should get a Macintosh, run numerology on it, because it's the best MIDI sequencer ever made. Anyway, okay, so that pattern, I programmed that on this voltage sequencer right here, which is getting stepped from this trigger sequencer. But see, that trigger sequencer is going into this voltage controlled switch, which is getting controlled by this voltage sequencer right here. Now, you might be asking, why am I doing that? Well, it's so I can do that. And then I can just turn it off. And if I want to hear now, the reason you're hearing that other note in there, the reason you're hearing that 8th note in the pattern that's on the downbeat of the second bar, which is the bar that you should not be hearing anything, is because it is impossible to choke that trigger sequence quickly enough to keep that little couple of microseconds of trigger from reaching the envelope generator and from advancing the voltage sequencer. So we're just gonna roll with it because I think it sounds pretty cool. And now we're gonna bring in the drum machine. Oh, by the way, the voices I'm using, the middle voice is I'm using a triangle wave on a .com oscillator into my wave folder, and then the bass, the big bass notes are the Oakley Slim VCOs into the mixer, and then into the post-lawsuit low-pass filter. Okay, so this is the drum machine, and I'm going to bring in the. So this is the shaker part, which is the rhythmic element from the original that I decided to keep because I thought it was kind of an important part. The shaker sound though is actually a breath sample of my friend Dorian Electra. I did a remix for her, and I wound up sampling her breaths into the drum machine as part of the rhythm. And I think it sounds awesome. So that's a best shaker ever. Now the other drums I'm going to bring in here, they're very dull sounding. Okay. Tangerine Dream had a very, not necessarily custom, but a very primitive sampling drum machine that only a few were built, called the Rhythm Robot. And I think that's what it was. I think that the Rhythm Robot was related. The Rhythm Robot might have been this. It doesn't matter. Anyway, they had these really primitive drum samples where the Nyquist filter was so low because of the low sampling rate. The Nyquist filter was so low that the drum sounds were just super dull. And if you listen to White Eagle or Logos, you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, so now, by the way, I just want to mention again that I'm using the Archangel as my MIDI sync to DIN sync converter for all of these sequencers and these drum machines when I use them later. And it's actually doing a pretty good job. Okay. Okay, now I had to reposition the camera because there's another part where there's an electric piano part that comes in, and I've kind of simplified it down to the most important parts of the electric piano part are so there's that. Now I also plugged in the Juno 60, and I'm actually taking the 16th note clock out of the 16th note clock out of the Archangel, which is still available to you when you are using it, when you've decoupled the voltage sequencer on the Archangel from the transport. When it's in external shift mode, you still have the clock output available to you. So I'm gonna use that right now, actually. Turn on the arpeggiator. Okay, so I'm gonna break this down. Okay, so anyway, if you made it this far, then congratulations. And if you want to hear this without me talking over it, then check my Bandcamp page or something like that. I'll probably post a link here as well. Thank you.